Hello, hello, well, hello, and welcome back to Ascension TV Online. How are you? I am good today. It's Friday, and though I had totally made the intention that Thursday was my recording day, yesterday it was not going to happen. And today, this is exactly the theme that I'm talking about. So, years ago, I was given this phrase in my ear, if you can't love another, love yourself, which is pretty obvious. It's the thing that so many people talk about. You can't give from an empty cup and all the same things. But particularly how that phrase was given, it landed so well. And yet I know I have forgotten many, many times. And this week, I literally took a week out. I felt like I was not in the world. I was in a limbo land and I really needed that downtime. And today I feel like, yep, I'm coming back. And the reason is because this year I published my own book, Who Called You Crazy? And that was a nerve-wracking experience. And if you've ever done anything like out of your comfort zone, you will know how many edges you have to keep moving through and accepting and talking to your inner child. And all of your subconscious things come up when you do something that's slightly out of your norm. Okay. And then it becomes normal because now I've done that. A few weeks ago, I found a book that I'd already half written and realized I can actually start getting that together for another launch. But I've gone through the nervous part of it now. But it's left me feeling so depleted because not only was I having emails to and fro with the publisher and wanting to get everything ready for the 9th of September to use the 999 portal, I was also attending well-being fairs. I was also writing a body of work of coming to peace. I was doing all the PDFs that I wanted to pop on my website, which you can go and find at openlotusliving.com/resources. So one of the reasons why I didn't record yesterday, because I was still in my rest phase and I could feel my whole body system calming down. And one of the things I was journaling about this morning, and then I wrote a blog around this same theme. And I was thinking, why do I need to say this again in a video and on a blog? Because it's so important, and it's so important that I remember this. So many of us are here to do good work in the world. You might see yourself as a light worker, somebody that's wanting to make, big waves and change the world, bring your message to the world. And yet, because for me, because I've always known I'm a soul with a body rather than a body that might find a soul, itchy nose and all that's about. Something clearing out of my nose, some energies clearing. Um, then like I used to think literally I don't need to stop. And this is what some people would say is completely delusional. That's why people like are manic, blah 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 blah. But to me it's not a crazy thought because in spirit we don't need to sleep. Like you don't get the angels like, oh, they're all going up there to sleep, angel house. No, they just are. You know what I mean? They don't have that physical body. So my belief is that many, many, many of us remember that. And it's why when we have a download, for example, and you have this inspiration, you see that the end result like done, and then you've got to backfill to get to that point of manifestation, to see it in a physical reality. Gosh, sorry, what is that about? Into the physical reality. So it's not that we have, I don't think it's not, oh, it's just a thing about ADHD brains. No, it's because a part of us is in spirit, and in spirit, things happen very quickly. We're in a really dense environment, and unless you're very in alignment, things can take a long time because they have to go through all of your hang-ups in order to birth something. Whereas when you see it, you receive it as a finished product that you then have to pull in. So this can leave people like myself, people like yourself, perhaps, if you have visions and then you expect yourself to just literally work until it's done. And again, in neurospicy terms, people call that hyper focus. And I have my autism diagnosis now, and I've just confirmed with a friend of mine that we're going to channel write a book together around autism because I have always had the drive to find out what the spiritual slash energy slash soul reasons are for any of those diagnoses. Because for me, it's not as simple as it's this because of this, or my mum did this when I was born, or this or this. It can be there can be multiple factors. So we're going to sit in sacred space and channel some information because he also presents as autistic. And I was really surprised that as a healer, he would bother saying that on his website. And it spurred on us discussing autism and what that actually means. So but I know that I have that capacity. I hyper focus where nothing, it's like if I've got to do something, I will just keep going until it's done. There is no stopping food, eating, peeing, nothing. I'll just keep going and then it's done. I'm like, okay, cool. I've done now. And I did that a few weeks ago when we had the wellbeing fair on the Saturday day, and then literally we had 3 hours to shift the whole place around and mopped the whole floor, and then we had the dance class, and it was, it's temple space, so it's not just a class, it's a whole space that I create so people can come in and drop in and have this beautiful experience. So, and I hadn't eaten until like 10:30. Well, actually it was 12 o'clock at night when we got in. But we can do that if we choose, but there's a payoff, isn't there? Because we are in a physical body. Now, my belief and many other people's belief is that we have a light body. And I've just received a book actually, where have I got it? Yeah, I just received this book in the post today. I was writing about the Merkaba in a course that I'm writing, the Angel Vortex Healing. And essentially our physical body is only as physical as we need it to be. So like when we start being enlightened, we're literally receiving more light into our system. And like ice turns, can go into water, can go into gas, so can, I believe, like all of us. And it doesn't mean we're just going to disappear, but we are vibrating at a different rate, which is why I really believe, and I had this as a download years ago as well when I was in hospital being sectioned, that we wouldn't need to eat so much. And I've heard other teachers now talking the same. And obviously you hear about people called breatharians and people doing very long water fasts, because when we're in a certain vibrational alignment, we're not actually deteriorating. So why, we build, people say you need proteins, but it's like building a house. Once a house is built, like you don't actually need to keep feeding it bricks, right? And people believe that we're constantly deteriorating. And if that's your belief, you will probably live like that. But if you don't, if you believe that you can be in alignment and vibrate in perfection, then that's what you're going to manifest. And we're going to see more and more and more and more of this happening now. And you'll see like more and more older people just being like really vibrant in their 80s, 90s, hundreds, because we don't actually have to die and deteriorate. It's just a whole load of beliefs that's been in the DNA. And because of the stress that people live under, living unhealthily with unhealthy, blah, blah, blah. And it's usually stress. I want to say I'm getting a really strong feeling now. It's more stress is more of an indication whether you're going to your body's going to, I want to say detriment. What's the word? Is going to, start failing because it messes with your DNA. And if your DNA is faulty, that's when your body can't replicate and keep itself in its pristine condition. But if you're not stressed, you don't deteriorate even to need to then regenerate cells. You're just going to stay in a vibrationally well space. And again, when we're very stuck in physical time, 3D world, that is just insanity. But for me, it never has been. It's just been something that I've known, but haven't been able to always articulate. And I spoke to the wrong people, and they obviously thought I was a little bit crazy. But there you go. I was talking from my soul memory, really, rather than something I'd read. So coming back to the theme that I wanted to talk about today is this: love yourself so you can love another. And for me, when I had my vision as a kid, and I really had this sense that I totally know that Jesus exists, and I just love, his message of being one of service and love, I took it and ran with it. And I did not realize how much I was how can I say, doing myself a disservice. So I wasn't discerning. I would just literally, and I do, the essence of this is still true. I really believe it. Like all beings are worthy of our love, attention, and respect. But if somebody's like punching you, I mean, no, I haven't really had this, but like if somebody is being seriously abusive, you can love yourself as well as loving them, and that might be going the heck away from them. And I have walked away from friendships that were just not feeling in alignment anymore because I would just keep thinking, well, I've got to love this person, I've just got to be like Jesus. And it's like there's nothing here. It's landing on deaf ears, or they're just sucking it up. But actually, like, I'm wasting my time because, like, well, it's not. I want to say, actually, I can feel the disalignment. There is no wasted time to me. If you're loving on someone, that's not ever a waste. Like, it never, ever, ever is a waste. But I knew that there was more for me to do in the world, and I didn't know what that was for a really long time. And when I finally went to Portugal with beautiful Jack, and I started really calling in more like what things that I wanted, which was more spiritual connections, more people that I could literally converse with about spiritual things that I have had always wanted, been interested in. And I met Gregory Smith in Portugal, and I went on a few vision quests, and I started receiving those knowings, and I really got things to do, and I would get like a download and I'd go and do them. And that is how I tend to work. I get a download of something and I start working on it, and that's what I do. And that's many of us who are doing that. And anybody that has an inspiration, it doesn't matter whether you received it in the car, the shower, on a vision quest, it's still the same. You have that inspiration, you want to share it with the world. And many of us, because we're light workers, we just want to give to the world. We want to give our time to the world. We want to give healing. We want to give our creativity to the world. But there has to be a time of integration when, like the butterfly, and the caterpillar kind of just stops and mulches, and then it can come out as a butterfly. And that, to me, that is not just happening once in our life. That is happening multiple times, which is why we can have this feeling like cycles and cycles and cycles of death and rebirth. And it can be really challenging if you don't realize that's what's happening. And it is really why I wrote the book, Who Called You Crazy, Coming Out of you're having a spiritual awakening. Because to me, so many people think, oh, I'm just having a funny turn. No, you're having an awakening. You're having a surge of energy that is creating that chrysalis effect, and you're going to be purging, you're going to be turning to mush on the inside, and then you're going to come out as a butterfly. Whereas if you just get fixed on the mush, you're going to just think, oh, this is awful, I'm dying. Yeah, you are dying. Your past is dying. And that's what's happened over the last few weeks for me. I obviously birthed my book, and then I kind of just went, well, I had to get on because I had to do the well-being fair and things like this. I had other obligations, but really part of me was just like, whoa, I need to just die now, because that whole journey for me, which is 2 times 9 year cycles, right? Because it was 18 years before that I would have been in the hospital, and planting the seeds of that book to go, this is bullshit. Like, this is disgraceful how people are being treated. This is not okay. Like, this is not what I need. I need to talk to somebody spiritually, like wise, about what's happening, that actually understands it, not just take a fucking pill to suppress me, and give me like basically mega trauma for the rest of my life. So I was dying to that version of myself that was really, for a long time, just carrying a drum and banging it and being like, I'm so fucking pissed off with the world. Like, I am just so angry. But actually, I don't have to be angry, because I needed to write that book. There is more work to come from that. And I will, I will ask for the guidance of what else I want to do, because I don't want anybody else to go through that. And I don't think it's necessary for anybody else to be so treated so abominably by a system that is meant to help us, because they just literally have no fucking idea of what's going on. But coming back to the theme, I had to love the shit out of myself before I can then go out into the world, right? And love is not just, it can be actions, it can be resting and going for the walk and eating well food, good food and all of these things. But for me, there are times when I do that as a given. Like my food, I eat well, I exercise every day, I go for walks in nature pretty much every day, I live well. But there are times when that is not enough. Those external things that are the self-help, self-care steps, they're just not enough. And actually this week, for example, I had my Sunday on my Monday because I was at a fair on Sunday, and I just didn't answer. I didn't try. I didn't think about. I was thinking and worrying, and I realized yesterday I wasn't letting myself, I didn't have the vocabulary in my mind or my psyche to say, I'm having a fucking holiday at home and I'm doing nothing. It's just so alien because let's face it, when we're growing up, that was not also an option. Like we didn't have that. I didn't have that. We were busy all the time. Holidays meant we're going off and we're going here and we're going to do walking and blah, blah, blah. So there was still no downtime and it certainly didn't feel safe. No disrespect to my parents, they're amazing people, but I didn't find safety with them for whatever reason. Enough things happened that some part of me I was like on edge, I'm looking, checking, just because of the 80s, whatever, well, it doesn't really matter. But so for me, it's been a real challenge to go, I've done enough. Like I'm sitting on my bum and I am just stopping. And I know, and I'm sure many of you will know that if you don't do that, you will get ill. You get a cold, you're going to have something that will just stop you in your tracks. For example, this year, in February, my head gasket went on my car, and at the same time, I just had the worst flu I'd ever had. And I'm sure it was because I had literally just ran from like Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, literally to the 2nd of February. And I didn't stop because I was running a wellbeing fair, and it's on me. Like I don't have anybody else that's doing anything for me. I am doing all the flyering and all the prep and all the emails and everything, and having clients and prepping other projects. And it's not too much, but the way that I have been living with that and the stress on my nervous system because of child parts that haven't been healed means that it can be tiring. And in of themselves, nothing is, to me, nothing is tiring. Like we all have infinite capacity to do anything we wish in our life. But if we are out of kilter, if there's a cloud passing through and you're pretending it's not there and you're not allowing yourself to see and accept an aspect that is needing love and attention, you're not going to be running on all cylinders, and therefore being able to give of yourself with ease. It's going to be filtered. Your presence is filtered through these other you might call them imprints, you might call them I call them like crunchy bits, like when you've had an accident on a car and your car is out of sorts. We have that when we have trauma. And actually when I was going through writing the book and finishing the book, as really most of it wasn't writing because I wrote it years ago, but the really the tweaking, the editing, and the polishing, that process was me processing all of that shit because I'd stayed in this. I'm so angry. This was wrong. Really vitriolic. Really bitter. To be honest, I was doing so much deep work because there was so much anger that this stuff still happened. But I know I might have been one of the men that put a wife in a place like that in another year, in another lifetime. It's so easy. So like we don't always know why something happens to us and not the person just there. And I had to live with that and look at that and do that self-love and look at the heavy parts, the dense parts, the shadow aspects of myself so that I can then come back into coherence and take a step out in the world. And I see when I think about the Coming to Peace series, and I'll be doing more work on that over the coming months, I get shown the infinity sign, because with any theme, there will be like the extreme left, the extreme right, the extreme hot, cold, poor, rich, happy, sad, whatever, it is not that there has to be an opposite, but there is a potential opposite experience. So I'm not a believer that you have to have this so you can have this, but if you're in a certain aspect of a theme, then there's going to be a necessary other side. So even with this, if you keep loving and you're over here like I'm going to love, like life keeps changing. So you can't stay in constant giving. It's like actually impossible because it's just insanely impossible to think that. So if you kind of stuck here, something's going to catapult us to the other side, right? And it's the same, I believe, in our lifetimes. If I've been the perpetrator of something quite cruel to somebody, I'm going to probably go this way so I can be the victim, so I can experience it, and then you neutralize that whole construct, and you never have to play that out again. So part of the work I've had to do is love the parts of me that were really in pain and just really fucking pissed off. And what's under the pissed off is pain. It's pain of rejection, fear of rejection, pain of not being accepted by your peers, your family, society, whatever that is. But also like looking at the other side, well, do I do that? Yeah, sure I do. There are certainly things of society that I completely wholeheartedly reject. So guess what? Like, I'm no better. So we have to do it, but you have to love all the parts, right? And this is to me really the love ourselves so we can love another. Like it's fine and well having really healthy lifestyles. I'm all about that. And if you need help about that, you can have a look at the resource Coming to Peace with Your Diet. You can have a look on the PDF there because a lot of people have I can feel people, they've been jealous of me. I'm pretty like slender. I look, my body looks healthy and good. And it's because I eat well and I exercise every day. It's not rocket science. It's pretty obvious stuff. And I do a lot of lymph drainage, and I'm having my shower. I do a lot of work on that. I understand that because I did, anatomy, physiology. I have an understanding of what helps the physical body be well. I drink a lot of water. I eat healthy. I don't always eat straight away in the day. I don't have caffeine at all. Don't really have dairy products except for dairy chocolate when I'm in that mood. So there's things that I do. It's not like being lucky. I put my fucking time in, but I did that for years and I was really unhappy. And I knew that I looked well, and people would say, "Oh, you're so lucky." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I feel like shit because I hadn't loved really in all those deep parts. I hadn't been able to accept the parts that are angry. I would judge myself, judge. If I'm not like Jesus and shining in the brightness of brightness, then I'm all bad. And of course, that's not true. Like Jesus was angry. There's a passage in one of my favorite books, Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, and I need to order another copy. I left it in Portugal for people. Where he was so angry at the state of the world and he would like bring storms. And I've seen myself do that, and we can all do that. We are such powerful beings that our energy will start shifting things around us, that I've been angry and I can see how it affects the world around me. And then I judge myself, and it's like, okay, it's just part of the learning experience. Like when you look at why you're angry, look underneath. Usually it will be, certainly from this life, a child part that is just terrified about something and it's screaming, needing to get out and needing to be heard. And this is why the work I do, I absolutely love it. Yes, I'm a coach, but really, it's really deep healing that I do. I use something called the peace process, which helps us to really, like on a quantum level, bring your own higher presence, bring the light of your presence into the body, into those stuck parts and those contracted parts. And to me, that's one of the best ways that we can really love ourselves, as well as and if you want to see the teacher, my teacher for this, his name is Christian Michelson, and I'm aware that a lot of people don't really dig him, they don't really get it, because he's American, he wears a suit, he's not really like fluffy at all. And he's very like, you can like earn millions of pounds, but underneath it, he is like a deep healer, and he's there with Jesus. Like Jesus gave him this healing modality. It is so profound, and it works with every client I work with. Okay, if you want to experience it, actually, I wanted to say, I am going to do another round of free sessions, okay? Because my belief is a lot of people have never received really good coaching. And I believe in the method that I learned from him. I believe it really helps, and it's very compassionate and very deep listening. And I would love everyone to have experienced that at least once. And if you want to then stay as a client, that's awesome. But if not, just do reach out, get a hold of me on my website, go to openlotusliving.com/contact, I think dash me. You'll see a contact form anyway. reach out and take up this offer, because for sure in this time, like, if there should be another caveat. If you can't love another, love yourself. And if you can't love yourself, get another to love you. That is why we go for therapy. That is why we call on angels. That is why we have healers, therapists, psychotherapists, holistic therapists, all the stuff. Because sometimes we don't have the tools yet. We haven't learned how to do that. We haven't had somebody in our world that showered us with love, that they couldn't access it. Like, I know my parents would do anything for me if I needed them to. I know they would, but they didn't know how to hug me. They didn't know how to shower me with kindness and love and verbal love, because they didn't have it, funnily enough. They grew up in the 50s, right? And it just wasn't done. There was proprietary and whatever. So, I don't even know if that's the right word, but it sounds right, like it's right for me. I have needed a lot of other people to show me how to be kind and have kind words for myself, because I grew up with strong teachings and kind of pushing, come on, do, or, and it was actions more than words. So I didn't have a whole vocabulary of how to love my inner child. So I have watched seminars, and I've had healings, and I've had therapies and all sorts of things where I've learned, oh yeah, when this comes up, I can love that part of me. But you know what? Sometimes we have to have somebody else that does it for us, and then we start learning how to do that for ourselves as well. You know what I mean? So I would love to hear from you if you are resonating with what I've said today. I'd love to hear from you what it is that you do for you. What is your self-love activity or theme, or something that just gives you time? I've done all sorts this week. I've done EFT, I've done journaling, I've watched my favorite Netflixes. I've watched Bridgerton, which I absolutely love. Who doesn't love a ball? I know you have a lot of friends that love Downton Abbey and Bridgerton, and I wonder, either we've lived in those times and we've had a beautiful life, or it's just like so faffy and pappy that it's just soft, right? There's not really much violence. There's not much swearing. It's just lovely and sumptuous. And let's face it, with the way the world is, we need a little bit of that sweetness, just to remember that yes, there's some heavy stuff going on, but like, we cannot take it away from people if that's their lesson, and we cannot click our fingers and make it better. And I'm just hearing my ears, yes, you can. You can make prayers. I mean, that's my favorite way of helping the world. We can't necessarily feel like we can get on a flotilla and go over to Gaza, but you can send prayers. You can call on the angels for divine intercession. You can like give to charity and things like this, but keeping your own energy in a centered place is a better place to be of service to those around you than scrabbling around and panicking because you don't know what to do about the world. I did it for years, and I was in such a state because I looked at every single part of the world and I was like, oh my God, I want to help this and I want to help this. But actually, there's a slice of the pie for me. And for me, it's to heal people that want to have healing and to be a guide and speak like this. It's not to go and run over there. It just isn't. And I am making peace with that. We cannot all do it all. We don't all need to do it all. There are different places and different lessons and different learnings for every single person on earth, and we only need to take the slice that is in front of us that we can do. And if that is nothing, and if that is loving yourself, that's what you need to do. And that's what I did this week. And it felt so challenging. Believe me, it was just like, oh God, there's so much to do. And it's like, yeah, and it's going to stop, and it's going to wait. Like, it will wait. It's fine. Yeah. So I hope something has landed today for you with that. So much love to you, so many blessings. And I look forward to seeing you again. If you would like to, have a little fun exploration of some self-care steps that you might take. I have made a little PDF, and I'm going to put it on my website so you can download it at openlotusliving.com/resources. There's a load of PDFs there. So if there's something that you're struggling with, something that's disturbing your peace, go ahead and check. There might be a PDF for you on there. And if you want something similar and you don't see it and you've got an idea, just let me know as well, because you know what? It's one of my favorite things to write some fun PDFs for people to help you. And if you'd like one of those free sessions, come and get in touch, get on my website and reach out, and I'll send you the booking link and we can hook up. So, my beautiful friends, sending so much love to you, so much love. And I really hope that if you are struggling to love others in the world, that you're going to go within and love yourself. All right. Ciao for now. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you again soon.